I guess the question of the day is, should I have taken Sasuke out of the list to put Zoro on the list? Hey, what's up everybody, ForneverWorld here, and this is kind of a response video to my previous video about the greatest badass, and I want to talk a little bit about that, and also the response I got from people in my comment section for the most part, and private messages and such. A lot of people, first of all, said, why did I put Sasuke in there? You know, a lot of people felt he wasn't a badass. Well, I want to say one thing. First of all, somebody being a badass is mostly subjective. You know, somebody might see something as a badass and somebody else might not see it. For me, looking at Sasuke, like, yo, this guy, he will throw down and go against anybody for his goal. And, like, he won't care. Like, going up against all the Kages in the Kage Summit, like, that's not badass, you know, hopping in there and going crazy, fighting everybody. Sure, yeah, Madara was helping him. He didn't really ask for Madara's help. But, you know, at the end of the day, he jumps in. You know, he'll go up against Naruto whenever he doesn't care. He went up against Kakashi, Naruto, Sakura all at once. To me, that's badass, you know, jumping in and fighting whatever, not giving a crap about nothing. So that's why I threw him on the list. Now, as far as that, that's not like the end-all, be-all badasses, you know, the Hiei, Vegeta, and Sasuke. But I was kind of go with the feel of, like, with that particular list of, you know, they're the same character for each of their series. Like, you know, Vegeta and Sasuke and Hiei are all like the same type. They're anti-hero, you know, the quote-unquote badass of their series that they won't listen to the hero, but they'll kind of help out. Sasuke, you know, eventually just went completely nuts. But, you know, at a certain point, up to a certain point, he was like, you know, he was a good guy, but he would not listen to Naruto. You know, he does his own thing. And that's what I was compiling that list of, because there's a lot of badasses. You know, there's Guts from Berserk. There are so many badasses out there, you know, that I could have put on the list, but I just mainly just stuck with that type of structure for the list. Now, a lot of people hit me up and say, Fornever, where's Zoro? Why isn't Zoro on the list? And I kind of didn't put him in there because I felt he was a different type of badass. And, you know, I guess the question of the day is, should I have taken Sasuke out of the list to put Zoro on the list? You know, just if we were going to do a top 3 or whatever, or the 3 on that list. Well, I don't think Zoro fit in that particular list, because Zoro himself is a badass. You know, the things that Zoro has done, you know, just for example, taking all of Luffy's pain and that one particular thing, and I believe that was Thriller Bark, you know, that alone is a badass. You know, he took all of Luffy's pain and then didn't even want Luffy to know about it. He's like, nah, I don't want to worry him. You know, I'm just gonna take all the pain. That alone is a badass. Not to mention all the countless other times that Zoro has done stuff that is a badass. Should I have taken Sasuke off the list? No, I think Zoro actually should have been on his own, like a different set of badasses, because Zoro is a more prideful badass. Zoro is more of a good guy than I see, like, even when Sasuke was good, or, you know, or Vegeta or Hiei. They are just, like, kind of like the bad, like, they kind of have a bad attitude all the time. They kind of have, you know, the stigma. And Zoro is like he's a badass, but he's himself in a different type of structure. Like, you would put a badass like Zoro in the same list of even, like, you know, a Luffy, or, you know, just badasses of that, like a Guts or something. Like, I put Zoro and Guts in their own badasses because they're very similar. They're kind of nice guys. You know, they have their attitudes, don't get me wrong. They can, and they will whip you down if you mess with them. But for the most part, they're separate from what I put with the Vegeta, Sasuke, and Hiei. They're their own type of badasses. They're all very similar. You know, they all have the bad attitude. They all, you know, everybody loves them. They're usually the favorites of the series. And that's exactly what I would say with, you know, Zoro and Guts and etc. something like that, because they're their own type. They're kind of nice, but at the same time, don't mess with them. So, no, I wouldn't take him off of that list, but Zoro indeed is a straight-up badass. You know, I'm not going to say at all, you know, especially of One Piece, you know, who's more of a badass than Zoro? You know, he would chop you down, his 3 swords, you know, his crazy moves, you know, so definitely Zoro is a badass indeed. For the people that say, oh, why, you know, you don't think Zoro's a badass? Of course I think Zoro's a badass, but I was going with a different type of thing in that list. Now, if you guys want to let me know which one you think is more of a badass, Sasuke or Zoro, go, you know, feel free. I don't want to kind of do that, because, you know, they're both badasses for the different reasons. Sasuke will jump into any fight, you know, regardless of the odds stacked against him. You know, like I said, he hit up the Kage Summit, just going crazy, attacking everybody. Zoro, you know, will just go crazy, fight anybody that his captain tells him to. You know, he just go psycho with his swords and such. He went up against, you know, back in the earlier on in the series, he went up against a Shichibukai, and, you know, he didn't care either. He went up. So, you know, if I had to, I'd say, like, Zoro would be badass for certain reasons. Sasuke would be badass for certain reasons. You know, so I really don't want to do it. If you guys want to let me know which one you think is more of a badass, then that's fine. That'd be awesome. I kind of see them both, to be honest, as equally badasses in their own perspectives and their own respective ways, you know. But again, that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think. Do you think that Zoro or Sasuke is more of a badass, and why? You know, don't just say Sasuke, enough said, or Zoro, enough said. Give me, you know, some pretty good reasons or whatever. Yeah, that's all I have for this particular video. Again, want to clarify, Zoro is indeed a badass. I find Sasuke a badass for my own reasons, and a lot of people do as well. And yeah, have an awesome day, people.